The moment I saw that banner, I knew something was off. Congratulations to our real daughter. Gold letters, big smiles, loud laughter, and somehow, every single person at that table acted like I was the one who didn't belong. I should have turned around and left. Instead, I stayed. Because deep down, I knew this wasn't just a family dinner. It was a setup. The room looked perfect on the surface. Elegant table settings, toasts in the air, smug little smiles passed around like champagne. But underneath all of it, something darker was waiting to come out. Then a waiter stepped toward me and quietly placed a small envelope on the table. No name, no explanation, just a message inside. Look closer. You already know the truth. And in that second, everything changed. This wasn't my humiliation. This was my signal. I still remember when I first became part of that family. I was young, trusting, completely open-hearted. I believed every smile, every promise, every "we're proud of you." I thought I had found safety, a home, people who truly saw me. But over time, the cracks started showing. Whispers behind closed doors. Phone calls that suddenly ended when I walked in. A strange new interest in things I had built, earned, and worked for, things they had ignored before, until they became useful. At first, it was subtle. So subtle, I almost questioned myself. Then it became impossible to ignore. A staged photo. A family moment that should have included me, rewritten to feature someone else. My recital. My work. My milestone. And somehow, I had been edited out of my own life. That was the moment I stopped reacting and started paying attention. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I watched. I listened. I learned. Every lie. Every inconsistency. Every quiet move they thought no one noticed, I noticed. And piece by piece, I built the full picture. What they called family was really control. What they called love was convenience. And what they thought they had buried was the truth. So I made a decision. If they wanted to play games, I would stop being the target and start being the strategist. I gathered everything. Emails, financial records, signatures, witnesses, old promises, hidden connections, loose threads they never imagined could be pulled together. Because real power isn't loud. It's patient. It doesn't explode. It lands exactly when it needs to. So while they were busy celebrating their version of the story, I was quietly rewriting the ending. First, their image started to crack. People noticed the inconsistencies. The invitations slowed down. The confidence faded. Then came the pressure they never saw coming. A contract they overlooked. A transaction they thought no one would question. Documents they assumed would stay buried. Everything was precise. Timed. Measured. By the time the first problem surfaced, the rest were already in motion. And still, they underestimated me. That's what made the banquet almost funny. They had the banner, the speeches, the polished performance. They really believed they were in control. So I walked in calm, composed, unbothered. I let them enjoy the moment. I let them believe I was still the same quiet person they had spent years dismissing. Then the note arrived, and I knew it was time. I gave a single nod. That was all it took. Phones started buzzing. A financial advisor called. Legal documents came through. Questions turned urgent. Transfers were flagged. Filings were missing. Claims they built their reputation on started falling apart in real time. You could feel the energy in the room shift. The smiles tightened. The laughter disappeared. Conversations got quieter. Eyes started darting from one screen to another. For the first time, they weren't looking at me with superiority. They were looking at each other with fear. And then came the truth. Not shouted. Not dramatized. Just delivered clearly, calmly, and in a way they couldn't deny. Everything they had built on manipulation was collapsing. Not because I destroyed it, because it was never solid to begin with. I could have walked out right then. I could have left the second the illusion cracked. But I stayed. Not for revenge. For closure. I stayed long enough to watch every carefully crafted lie lose its power. Long enough to see the people who dismissed me finally understand what they had done. The banner was still hanging there by the end. But now it looked different. Not proud. Not powerful. Just empty. And when I finally spoke, the whole room went still. I said, "You celebrated the wrong victory." That was it. No yelling. No scene. No chaos. Just truth. And somehow, that hit harder than